I helped someone make $1,000 in 20 minutes, and I'm making this video to show you exactly how. My name is Rich Vendiga, and I've been trading in the financial market since late 2018. So being about 5, almost 6 years into my trading journey, I've learned a lot, obviously, and developed a lot of strategies and things that I've come up with along the way. But it really wasn't until early 2024 that I started creating my system called Liberty. And being a part of my platform, akashx, and educating for that company, it was the perfect time and place to really impact a big community with this style of trading. Now, in this video, you're going to be seeing some testimonials. One specific that really stood out, where we're talking about a 4-figure profit in less than half of an hour taking place. And it is due to pretty much using that strategy that I'm talking about with Liberty. Now, some of you may be wondering exactly how could we make that much money in such a short amount of time? And in this specific situation, what we were doing was trading the news, the financial news, something called FOMC. And there are a lot of big news events that happen in the marketplace, things like NFP, things like CPI. I've made other videos, and people who have access to my mentorship program, they understand what these terms mean. But with FOMC, we expected the market to move very quickly. And this was a scenario where we had a trade that just absolutely smashed all of our profits. And the coolest thing was, this specific member that made that $1,000 in 20 minutes wasn't the only one that won with us. You see, my entire community that was plugged in and ready to trade at that time was also able to generate results that you can see all right here on the screen. And that's what I aim to do, is to create testimonials within my company, within using my strategy of Liberty. So let's get on these charts and show you how we actually did this. So let's take a look at why this trade was taken. First and foremost, I pretty much only and exclusively trade NAS 100 at the moment with my strategy called Liberty. And reason first for this trade is all about market timing. And we're going to go to forexfactory.com here quickly and pay attention to something important, which was, is there any high impact news that is happening at around the time of this trade? Now, some traders will say to avoid the news. I'm not somebody that feels that way completely. And what I mean by that is, yes, around high impact news like FOMC in this example, you can have a lot of fake outs, manipulation, etc. happening in the markets. However, because I have that awareness and because our trades are really structured at playing the manipulation, it actually works in our favor in this example again, because we want ideally as traders to be in and out of the markets as quickly as possible with as much profit as possible. All right. So again, we're going to look at FOMC. That was May 1st on Wednesday at around 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. So we knew this event was going to be dropping, and that meant that we could expect a lot of volatility, a big move happening in the market. So that set the foundation for this trade. Now let's look at the actual chart for NAS 100 at around this time. Now, first and foremost, from a higher time frame perspective and kind of the overall picture of what was happening in NASDAQ, we see that overall we were on a bullish run, right? Because we've seen that at one point, the market had been shifting from bullish to bearish at this point, making new lower lows and lower highs. But once we really shifted back at around 17,400, where we break this structure and create this very big move, that makes this market overall bullish once again. So we see that the price starts to come up, right? And then we start working our way down. We also did take advantage of the sells earlier in the week. But again, in this example, we're going to be covering the trade that took place on May 1st during FOMC. So all in all, essentially from this shift of structure that took place right around here to about this low, this is that retracement area where we anticipated, again, from a higher time frame perspective, that NAS had made this big push up, and we were now going to come back down and retrace with the anticipation that we may be making newer highs in the market above this last high, right? So again, to kind of draw this out and give you a simplified version, we had this low, we had this push to the upside, a retracement into this last area of demand. And now we're anticipating a big move to push us above the old high once again. So that was the overall structure and thought process for the trend. Now, if we actually look at other confluences, right, other confirmations, and we pull up Fibonacci from about this low all the way to the high that was created over here, we see that we were at that sweet spot between 62% and 79% retracement. Again, if we have the premise that we are overall bullish, with this being the push, the retracement, this is ideally where that retracement should stop and then push back up. It should not be breaking lows all the way down here if we are going to continue bullish. So again, that's the higher time frame narrative as far as looking at supply and demand areas, manipulation in the market, and then even Fibonacci retracement levels. Now, where Liberty really shines is looking at the range that we're playing off of, which we can see this red, shaded box area. And what essentially Liberty is about is selling breakouts above the high and below the low. So yes, there were opportunities for shorting earlier in the day. However, the big opportunity for sure was breaking the high during high impact news, which we get our entry signal here. Now, during news, am expecting a lot of, volatility in both directions. We're not just always going to have a clean break where we just continue and go. Sometimes we're going to get an initial break and then a very strong retracement, and then we get the move. And that's pretty much what happened in this example. Now, again, there were members within our community of akashx that were notified of this alert and who were able to jump into this trade with me. So here on the akashx website, these are the trade alert panels from me and other educators. This is what people have access to as one of the few, features as being a member within our community. And we can see here 3 days ago, we had my breakout trade. And this was essentially the entry price, stop loss, and all the TP levels. And this was a screenshot of basically while the trade was developing. So we see that we did get that initial break. Then we had that very strong drop, and that's when this trade was called. Also on Telegram within my Liberty chat, I let people know ahead of time, like, hey guys, the buys are looking good, just waiting on this entry now. And so essentially that is when this alert was sent out. And now let's actually look at how this developed. So next candle, we see that we had that very quick push to the downside and immediately completely exploded back into profit. That's where we're going to have to take this back and really look at this on smaller time frames to see, how we actually had the time to enter this trade if you were a member, right? So we're going to scale down to smaller time frames like the 5-minute, 3-minute, 1-minute, etc. And so on the smaller time frames, we get a lot more detail on the chart. Again, we can see that we started breaking the high initially, and then within the next couple of minutes, we get that very strong retracement there. And that is really when people were able to enter this trade. Again, the entry was 17,390, and we had the stop loss at 17,340. So we're going to go ahead and edit this here. And this is the beginning of this trade. Now, the cool thing is we had people that had the opportunity to enter initially. And then we also had another re-entry opportunity once, and then we even had an entry one more time. So essentially, this was a trade that tapped us in and immediately went for well over 3-to-1 risk to reward within really about 6 to 9 minutes. And so this trade, again, our final TP listed on the alerts was this 3-to-1 take profit. That actually smacked in less than 10 minutes. However, members within my community that don't just only take signals, but understand, how to maximize a trade, we're holding this position past our final targets, right? And so this trade ended up continuing to run well above a 3-to-1 risk to reward. As we can see, at this point, we are about 4.5-to-1 risk to reward. And this is about when we were already, within that 15 to 20 minute range, and where we see some of our, members, like the one that made $1,000 in 20 minutes, take profits. Now, for those that wanted to stay in the trade a little bit longer, this actually was a trade that ended up running for much more than that, right? until we eventually come back down to entry. So yes, we teach to definitely, try to extend trades, but also make sure you have the right risk management and trade management to where, you exit with profits and not let the market reverse on you, right? So this ended up pushing for a total of about a 6-to-1 risk to reward ratio, risking 50 points to make essentially 300, 500 pips to make about 3,000 pips. But again, many members, they might have taken profit, at our final listed target. Some held a little bit longer. All in all, this is an ideal type of trade that we really want because, again, we are in and out of the markets in a very short amount of time. And whatever we risked on this trade, we made at least triple or more when we took our profits. And you see, that is really a big key to profitability, guys. It's not just about taking a signal and having a win for the day, but this is the type of win that can allow us to even incur the next 3 or 4 stop losses in a row and still not lose any money in our trading accounts. And that's something that I preach in my education all the way. So again, pretty much break out of the high, initial signal. We got some good retracements, took advantage during news, targeted at least triple our risk, and we are in and out with the bag on this trade. So, this week overall was actually an amazing week for Liberty though. Again, we had sell opportunities from way up here where we started breaking these lows and generating these very big moves in the markets. So whether people were able to catch this specific trade or whether they got into earlier or even later in the week opportunities like we saw, plenty of great trades that this system generates on a daily and weekly basis for our members. So again, we had, that one specific member that made about 1,020 minutes. We also see other members that also took profits on that specific trade and using Liberty throughout the week. Now, some of you may be asking, okay, well, yes, that was an amazing trade, but how did she actually make that much money in her trading account, right? Well, guys, you see, a big part of what I always talk about as an educator is that a lot of times people need to stop trying to really flip accounts and just acquire more capital. Again, we are utilizing a strategy where you're seeing we're making at minimum triple our risk on a profit versus our losses. But if you're risking $10, you're still only making 30. And even though, yes, you can grow it that way and it is great, if we really want to get to the goals that we have from an income standpoint, we need leverage, right? We need a lot more leverage, and that comes in the form of funding. So depending whether you know or not, believe it or not, in 2024, a lot of people still don't understand prop firms. They still don't understand, that they can acquire much bigger capital for a very small investment if they have the skill. And that's where I want to show you guys TradexMastery. I've talked about this in prior videos. It's obviously communicated on a daily basis within the community, but TradexMastery is a prop firm that we have direct partnership with that offers funding solutions, right? Basically passing challenges, getting funded, whether it's 25K, 50K, 100K, even up to 200K. So to give you hypotheticals, guys, even if you had the smallest account size of 25,000, which only really costs you a few $100s to acquire that account, which, by the way, you get your refund when you actually pass your funding and receive your first payout. This is the first step of my scaling program to how you can actually really start touching serious money in the markets. So pretty much this member, they have a funded account with this specific prop firm. And so they're taking the trades that I send and that they're taking themselves, right, from the education they've been receiving. And that is how we're able to make a 4-figure profit very quickly, because when you're trading with something even like 25K, you definitely are able to risk, for example, 1% on this trade, $250 to make what? Quadruple, triple, you even see a potential 6x, right? 250, if you make a 4-to-1 risk to reward ratio, that's $1,000, right? And we smack that 4-to-1 again within that 20 to 30 minute range. Now, what you really got to understand is when you start scaling to bigger capital, like a 200K account, for example, and you're risking 1%, that's $2,000, guys. So when we are smacking 3-to-1, 4-to-1 risk to reward, that is a profit of about $6,000 to $8,000 on one trade that, again, you can see can happen in as quickly as 15, 20, 30 minutes. So this is really the X factor for a lot of traders. in 2024 and beyond, whether you're trading CFDs, on Trade Locker, whether you're trading futures, this is the way to go, guys. So again, the description will have links to not only akashx but also TradexMastery, so that you have everything you need to be successful in your trading. So I hope this video inspired you to take trading serious, seeing what it can actually do for you in this industry, whether you are a novice or whether you become experienced over time. If you want to get access to my private mentorship, trade alerts, and everything else included, such as funding opportunities, hit the links below in this video, guys, as I have everything right below. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications for any future videos, and let's run it up.